Hello, everybody. My name is Paul, and yes, on the same day that I just posted up the episode 4 review, apparently there's an episode 5 ready. I'm actually watching this and recording it on the same day, so hopefully everything I said from my previous review is wrong, or at least more explained. Because again, I love the direction you're going with this. It's just that the context of the whole thing is not been explained at all from the episode 4. But I watched episode 5, the same thing 3 times already, and it is actually pretty good. It some stuff are more explained now in this episode, but not explained enough. We don't know why Weiss is in a dream, basically. So I was right. This is the dream realm that we're in, except for the part that we don't know how Weiss got there. Of course, I might still be missing something from episode 3. I try to watch episode 3 back, but unfortunately, the video that Crunchyroll did put out, at least for me, always cuts off at least a few minutes from the ending of the video of the episode. So I really don't know if anything I missed, like how Weiss was dreaming, all this stuff. But honestly, maybe by reviewing this, maybe I'll get the idea soon. But yes, we're in the dream realm in Weiss's dream, and yeah. So basically, let's get to it. Also, icon on the right to review episode 4. So if you want to watch that review first, go do it now because that is basically needed for when I'm actually explaining this. For any if you have any questions on like why am I actually kind of saying, oh, now they explain this and stuff like that, you'll understand from episode 4 where it was kind of a bit hazy in terms of context. But yeah, so let's get to it. Okay, so basically, um, just to let you guys know, let me see if I can actually move the mouse here. Yeah, so basically, I tried to do this for you guys, but it is a bit meh for me. But as you can see here from the pictures from here, we have the introduction and we kind of just started from here. Ruby is basically getting hurt in the dream and has to be waked up from the dream. So this is how basically she was connected to Weiss's dream in that point. However, we still don't know why we gone to Weiss's dream in the first place. And of course from here it's only been Ruby, so we don't know exactly how this all plays in the beginning, but as of now, yeah, Ruby is having a hard time basically doing this. As we can see here, basically it's been they're just explaining why Ruby woke up. It was because, well, she didn't fail the mission. She was just having a hard time actually trying to keep alive in there. Then we have a little comparison as we can just move on here. If you're actually wondering why I am not actually like playing any sound or just doing something like this, is to avoid copyright. Because for one thing, Crunchyroll is just like with Toei, strict with the copyright. So hopefully I can just show clips and screen pauses because I could do screenshots, but that's also going to be applied to copyright as well, some reason. So I'm just taking my precautions. Hopefully this big pause, the big play button on the middle of the screen is actually going to be helping. Also with the white background. I am actually watching this, of course, on the same thing that I did for my episode 4 review. So yeah, that's about it. So it seems like we saw Weiss here. So they're connecting from Weiss's dream. However, we still don't know the context of why we're doing this still. I do not believe that it was explained in episode 3, of course, neither in episode 4, but I could be wrong. I might have to rewatch after doing this review because, in all honesty, I do not remember this. Because I think even a lot of people actually talked about like episode 3 review that this never actually happened in that episode, so context is still needed. But at least it's been explained a bit more slowly. Is this a good direction? No, not at all. In terms of like story progression, episode 4 and 5 should have been in this case like together as one big episode, I guess. or at least the explanation of this should have been in episode 4 at least. But you do what you gotta do. So basically, in the dream, I'm going back a little bit because I have this one to say. So basically, the Weiss we saw from episode 4 is the negative Weiss, which is just Weiss's alter ego, or at the very least, um, how you say it. It could, well, alter ego is one thing, but I guess her deepest desire, and throughout this whole scene with Weiss, at least in the dream realm, that negative Weiss is basically the Weiss who wants to make her family proud and stuff like that, which is a whole other point to her story progression and character development that we really actually need, which actually makes sense compared to the original where Weiss kind of did a change pretty quickly in 2 episodes at least. At least this one, at least we have some development for Weiss. However, since they changed her character a tiny bit to be more relatable, I guess it now makes sense that they have to put this in there to make her character more interesting. Now, the thing is about this is that since this is technically always been called Ice Queendom, it would make sense for Weiss to have more development here. So yeah, take that for what you will. But I think, of course, if they were doing character progression, it'll always got to be mostly Weiss since this is her show. But continuing on, it seemed like for now it's still everybody's game as it was in the original series. Don't know if that's good consistency, but at least it's appreciated for me. We skip to this part of the episode, and this one is where all three of the rest of Team RWBY are going to go back into Weiss's dream. So Yang and Blake are going to help Ruby. Now there was a big discussion earlier before this little scene, but really it's not really need to be mentioned at all, as basically it's just Ruby, you are the leader, so you need to kind of like act like one, and also like it is your call. So if you don't feel like you want to do this, that's okay. We can help you still, and that's about it. It's not exactly how they would put it out, but that's how I feel about it. It's actually pretty good for Ruby to have that type of development. Of course, in the original series, Ruby took time to become leader, so hopefully this is not like a one episode thing where Ruby will become like a actual good leader already. Hopefully it'll be later in the series, but you never know. Okay, I'm gonna skip a little bit more. I'm gonna keep this short for the only reason why is because since I watched it 3 times, most of this is not really that interesting, at least for the middle parts. But there are actually some noticeable scenes that I actually I want to talk about. Also, I am a bit tired since I did episode 4 already, so yeah. So all three of them are basically sneaking into town, and at this point they're trying to find Pyrrha. Now that's actually pretty interesting. However, why they're just finding Pyrrha is weird. They could have tried to find the rest of Team Juniper, but maybe they were relocated. Kind of forgot what just happened here because I think all I remember was the door. If I look back, there's no mention of them, I think, whatsoever. Yeah, pretty much. And they're just trying to find Pyrrha. Oh, and speaking of Pyrrha, a lot of you guys, if you notice, because I am actually posting this pretty much after my live stream for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's when I'm gonna, do it, right? So by the time you watch this video, I recorded this before my live stream. It's just that since I've been packed in schedule, this is going to be after that. So if you're confused into why there's like maybe 2 videos here already, that's the reason why. I just want to get this out of the way because again, this is the an original storyline. I'm just hoping that it would be good and actually coherent and consistent. For now, a little bit, kind of, but it's still pretty sloppy. There's one good scene that a lot of people are actually talking about if you saw, so here we go. So basically, we have Pyrrha singing Mirror Mirror from the original series, and it's in English. Now the thing is that you guys might be saying that maybe I'm gonna be complaining on why it's singing in English. Now the thing is that this is not exactly the first time. The first time I noticed is when you actually the first time I actually heard that an English song from a Japanese product that was actually in a video game that I used to play. I played the English version of the game because that's what I grew up on, but when I played the Japanese version, or at least and see other people play the Japanese version of this game, the songs that in that game were always English. Why is that? Don't really know, but for this one, I guess it's a little homage to the old classic times of Japan, where basically some Japanese media will actually use English voicing over their songs. However, this is a little different since because Mirror Mirror is originally from a Western song from the original RWBY series, which is Western. So, is it a callback? Yes. Now, the thing is, if you guys remember, Mirror Mirror was sung by Weiss from the original, which actually kind of developed her character as it actually kind of correlates with her a lot in early series in the original series. However, for this one, for Pyrrha, it does match. However, it is Weiss's song, and hearing Pyrrha sing it is a bit weird for me. It's only weird because I always kind of associate this song only with Weiss, and once Pyrrha sings it, it's like, actually, it makes sense now you think about it. Because Pyrrha does go through the same type of struggle like Weiss did. However, it doesn't fit Pyrrha directly because of one thing. Specifically in this series, Pyrrha does not have the conflict of being different. As in, she's different as she's popular, but she wants to be a normal person. Pyrrha does not have that development yet in this series. In the original, yes, so it fits her. However, she doesn't go through that context, so like that character progression yet. Since because they change Pyrrha's character a lot in this specific series, it doesn't make sense for why she would sing this in the character that she's based off of, which is her original self in the original series. It makes a lot of sense. So hopefully in the future we'll see Pyrrha going through the motions like her original counterpart. However, the song does is not a good choice right now for Pyrrha, but I'm do hoping that this is just a major foreshadowing because I like those foreshadowings, just like with Wise from the original series. But of course, we do have some imaging with Weiss here, so that's good. Also, in this scene right here, we do actually get to see John, Nora, and Ren being as backup vocals, and they are really good. And honestly, that actually makes the song better, in my opinion. Except for the character relation is 50-50 for me, but at least the song is better sung in this one other than the original. I could be wrong. I might be misremembering the original Mirror Mirror song, but I think it's different since they don't have backup vocals. Unless I'm mistaken. Unless they're the same, then John has a female backup vocal, so who knew that John can sing like a girl? Which is actually pretty impressive, to be honest. Okay, moving on. And this is going to be super quick because there's nothing really that interesting after this. This is the biggest talking point, so I don't blame you if you just skip or go to the end from here. I forgot to show you guys like their costumes here. A little bit more weird for this one because their outfits here. This one thing I think Blake's makes sense. Yang not so much because this is a colder place. So yeah. Also, the next scene after this, they're getting cornered. They're gonna be ready to fight. So that's about it. So I'm gonna skip a little more forward. Let's just put this scene as out of context. So we'll just say it like this. But yeah, you can see the difference between Ruby's clothes and Yang's clothes here. Doesn't really match the environment. I think they got a little lazy with Yang's other design. just giving her a ponytail is something that most of the fandom does like, and that is a fandom thing, so that's pretty good on them. However, the clothes is just not really fitting with the scene and the setting, which is a snowy, cold place. So yeah, does make sense, but that's okay. Don't tell, and I'm not going to tell you what they mean by ew. You gotta think about that yourself, or at least watch the original video. I'm gonna leave it out of context, so there we go. And it seems like okay, I don't know why I repeat that twice in a row, but okay. So it seems like Blake kind of checked out the whole place. And this is actually a pretty good nod to what Weiss's home actually looks like in the original series. However, in the original series, we saw this much, much later down the line. But now it's good to see it in anime form. It's actually much more better in this way. But I guess it makes sense why it's brighter here because this is a dream realm. While in the original series, it might have been this bright, but it was just very dark, both in tone and story and setting and a lot of stuff in the original series. So yeah, and that's about it for the video. So yeah, that's about it. So we don't really get that much of a fight in this scene. They just got cornered and they might have flee. They fight a little bit, that they fleed, and that's about it. They were searching the castle. The mansion is a castle. I think it's either a castle or a mansion. In the I'm just calling it castle because technically it is a kingdom in Weiss's dream. So that's about it. But yeah, that's about it for the video. And now, by the time I actually finish this, there's also episode 6. Man, this website either is ahead of its time or like Crunchyroll is spewing these out so fast. That would actually explain why the stories are not that consistent with no context whatsoever. So episode 6 already out, so I'm going to review that as well. So I guess expect to watch that later today after this video if you want to check it out. Don't know which one you guys will watch first, but again, I might just post all these 3 videos at the same time. So yeah, episode 6. Oh my god. Okay, but let's talk about episode 5. The good. At least we have more of Team RWBY. And at least we have more context to why we are here. Why is this not explained in the 4th episode? I don't know. But at least we got it now, which I did predict from my previous review. So that's good. The only problem with this is that I don't know. I do not know if Rooster Teeth is actually in charge of actually writing this or the team that actually did Fate, or the Type Moon series. I do not know who's in charge, but the structure of plot relevance of the story makes no sense because episode 4 is the start of this original arc. No context was actually explained in the 4th episode. A tiny bit, yes, but that was like 10-20% of it. Now we have another, like, a good chunk, so I'll say like a 40%. We're still missing that other 40%. So hopefully episode 6 will run this down and maybe it's going to be the final one because I feel like this might just be a 3-part arc. So it would make more sense because first we just have RWBY and Weiss, then we have the rest of Team RWBY coming into the dream, and I think will be the final confrontation. The best scene in this entire episode is the Pyrrha one. I do love it. Just does not make sense for her character at this time in this specific series. If this was in the original series, and if Pyrrha is still alive and she sings this song, it would make more sense there. But now, not here. But it is sung better here, as long as I'm remembering correctly, because I've never heard Mirror Mirror in the past like 2 years. I've been listening to it for a long time, but I stopped 2 years because of other better music that I like to hear more, so that's about it. So I might be misremembering about it, but just let me know in the comments down below if you made it this far. Tell me if Mirror Mirror in this episode is exactly the same or is it different from the original show's Mirror Mirror. The song that is, of course. Out of overall, I would technically still give this just like my previous review. I think my previous review I give it a 8.5 out of 10. So the same as the episode 1 basically. No, episode 1 was like a 9.5 possibly. So this one, the other one might have been a 9.5 as well because its original story only been backed down by the inconsistencies, but the action and originality of that episode was good. For this one, however, I'll give it like a solid 9. We got more context. I do wish that Blake and Yang did have a bit more prominence in this episode. I mean, they did. They got screen time and they were with Ruby, but I was hoping that there were more scenes with them. The reason why it's not 8.5, which my original thing is, why I gave it a 9 instead, is because the Mirror Mirror song by itself is good to hear that again, especially in this form. And I just gotta say, Pyrrha looks much more pretty here than here. We never actually seen her hair down. Girls with hair down is like hits different, but that's like but of course that's like a meme in the culture community, of course. So like a big meme. So I'm just gonna put it right there. But yes, I like Weiss. I like Weiss as negative Weiss here, so it makes more sense that this is not the actual Weiss that you see from the outside, but this is her true self on the inside. Technically speaking, I think this is her true self, her true desires. Pyrrha looks really good. Sadly, Jean, Nora, and Ren are just there. At least Pyrrha doesn't seem creepy at this point, so that's actually good. Hopefully they keep her being normal or at least more relevant to her original self, but that's about it. I know I've been maybe a bit rambling a lot and you might not understand what I'm talking about at this point, but I mean like if you skipped all the way from down here, you might not make any sense here. And if you did watch the whole thing and I'm just rambling like this, know that I actually still like the original series and I am still giving this one a chance since because it is original. I just hope they keep doing this originality. But I think if they're gonna just post out episodes by episodes, because earlier I said I just found them doing episode 6 already by the time of this video, so I really don't know. I think after my episode 6 review, I think I'll just stop reviewing RwbyIceQueendom because I am actually getting a bit tired of actually trying to keep up. But if you don't see my episode 6 review, that means that episode was just a scam. So hopefully I don't need to talk more. But yeah, that's about it for the review. If you like this review, hopefully you will see my episode 6 review once it comes out, or at least if it's interesting. But other than that, I'm Sunko. I'll catch you guys later. And honestly, again, Mirror Mirror is it's very good to hear Mirror Mirror again. That's all I'm gonna say. I love the song. Just kind of wish it has a bit more context with Pyrrha in this one, since Pyrrha doesn't have that development yet. But it makes sense because it's Weiss's song. Kind of wish it was sung by Weiss in Japanese, just like last time with the other English music. But hey, this will call back to the old times, and I kind of like that. And I do like the English version, so that's good. Oh, it would have been more interesting if I hear the Japanese versions, though.